one of my YouTube videos. So today, what we will be going through is we will be going through a Hyrox dataset again, and we're going to be the episode number 2 in this series, and we are going to be looking at R squared and looking at goodness of fit. Well, basically, that's what R squared is. It's goodness of fit of a statistical model. It shows how well the data points fit the regression line, indicating how well the model explains the relationship between variables. So the range of an R squared value typically ranges from 0 to 1, 0 being, no relationship at all, or the model explains none of the variability in the dependent variable. The dependent variable is the main variable that we're measuring against. Today, what that is that will be the total time variable here. And then if you've got a 1, you get a 1, say for example, compare total time with total runtime over here, and I come back with a model of 0.6, for example, that would demonstrate a pretty decent correlation or a stronger correlation between those two variables. So if you run well in Hyrox, then it's highly likely that you will perform a good overall time or a faster overall time. So we're just going to go through this, and we're just going to do it for each one. We're going to have a go at those two variables first, and we are going to do it for a few different sort of stations there for Hyrox, just so people can sort of see, where they need to focus their time, I guess, with their training. So yeah, just a basic kind of data analyst model here. We're not going too far into too much detail today. I just want to try and keep this one nice and simple. So I'm going to data analysis under the data tab. I'm going to click on regression here. So going okay. All right. So here I've got the input range already in. So input range here, the output range over here. Just going to get that. Okay. And we want total runtime. Okay. So we don't take the heading here. We always take the second row down, Control Shift down. Okay, to get the whole data in the whole data set. There's quite a lot of data in here. There's 92,000 plus rows. So I could take a little bit of time just to go through. Okay, so we're just going to go through there now, and we're going to test that. So basically, the reason you use R squared is to find a strong correlation between two variables when doing statistics or data science. So if you've got, say, like 0.8, 0.9 for an R squared value, then you really know you have to sort of pay some attention to that particular variable because there is a strong relationship present. Okay, so if I come down here now, okay, we've got our two variable. So this is total Hyrox time versus running time, and what relationship between these two variables there are in the form of an R squared value. So if I come out here, I'm going to highlight this here because this is what we're going to be looking at. We've got 0.737, so 0.74, we'll call it. So that is a strong model there. So range R squared model. So that's a strong range there. So I would say that's where you need to focus your attention because this is in the higher R squared value. So, you want to go, okay, well, based on the 92,000 race results from Hyrox in this 3-year period, the people that went fastest were the best runners. A faster running time contributes to an overall faster Hyrox time. Okay, so that's pretty simple. Like most people would know that, anyway, because most of Hyrox is running. But that's, that is one big element. Straight away, if you're just training weights and you're not running, then, you need to ensure that you're hitting the running as well. That is a really important aspect of it. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to uh, go through the same process again, but this time we're going to look at the sled pull, okay? Because the sled pull, I personally think that's one of the hardest stations in Hyrox, in addition to burpee broad jumps. So I'm going to have a look at those two next because I want to just get a bit of a feel of what sort of relationship that those two have um, with your total Hyrox time. Like, how hard do we really need? How much time do we need to be putting into this? So if I go here, Control Shift down, okay, and just tab that, okay, and now what I want to do is I want to go back to the top, and I want to go and I want to measure. So this would be number three, station three. So box zone 2, run 3, station 3. Okay, so it's this one here. So this is lead pull, Control Shift down, select. Okay, and then I go okay. All right, so that's now calculating for me. It's going to determine the correlation. So I'm kind of thinking this is probably going to be moderate. There's going to be a moderate relationship to a fast Hyrox time, um, with a faster sled pull time. Um, but we've just got to sort of see what happens here. And it's a bit slow because there's a lot of data here. That's why I typically like to use um, different forms of analysis when I've got bigger data sets. But for this with Hyrox, it's just a little bit more user friendly, I guess, if I'm doing it in Excel present, as opposed to sort of exporting it all into SQL or another form of statistical software to draw these conclusions. Okay, so here we've got a really weak relationship of 0.11 between these two. So, a faster sled pull has a weak relationship and is a very small portion of the variability of the dependent variable, and the dependent variable is the total Hyrox time in this instance. So, realistically, how good do you need to be at sled pull? Well, just I guess question there is probably just, you need to know the technique and enough to conserve your energy to keep your run strong, but the sort of uh, you know, it's a very small part of the whole Hyrox process there. So if I go back to Hyrox results, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at the last one I'm going to look at is I'm going to look at the relationship between burpee broad jumps and the total time. Okay, let's have a look. And then we've got burpee broad jumps. Okay, burpee broad jumps is station 4, rowers 5. So that would be run 4, station 4 here. Okay, cool. So we're just waiting for that to load now. So this is another one. Personally, I think this analyzing the second half is probably going to see some pretty big gains there. I think wall balls, absolutely, there's going to be a good relationship there between, doing a good Hyrox time and going well on the wall balls. But, we'll just see what comes up with this, and I'll see how I'm going for time. If I can get it into today's video, I will. This analysis here is a bit slow on the screen today. Here it comes here now. So what we've got here is we've got another weak R squared model of 0.26. So, it's not weak. It's sort of in that moderate phase, I guess, of, the model explains a moderate portion of variability. The independent variables have some predictive power. So the independent variable here being burpee broad jumps has some impact on the overall sort of time, but statistically, it's not a high sort of correlation relative to running portion as such. Okay, and some of that's to do with there's only a certain amount of minutes in this relative to the whole thing. So the model's going to be a bit less, but it's moderate. Okay, so um, it just shows that burpee broad jumps, there is a lot more time to be lost there if you fatigue. So the importance is to focus on sled pulls, conserving energy, um, nailing those runs, and then getting into the burpee broad jumps, and having done the training and the preparation there to be able to go through without overexerting yourself too much, because if you do, that will contribute negatively to your overall time. Okay. All right. So that's that one there, guys. Thanks for tuning in today, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next video.